We back on another episode of Say Word Podcast. I got NBA superstar, New Jersey basketball legend, Mr. Tim Thomas. What's up, my man?
Not much, brother. How's everything?
Man, appreciate you stopping by, checking in with us for a couple minutes out of your busy schedule. Really appreciate it. It's much love for real.
Anytime.
Let me just get to it real fast. With everything going on in America right now, you being like a NBA player, professional businessman, do you feel like you're supposed to use your platform to speak on what's going on with racism and everything going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's just obvious. I mean, if it was 50, 60 years ago, it was just word of mouth. But nowadays you can, actually see what's going on in our communities, via cell phone, on social media. So, I mean, it's definitely crazy times. What's going on, and having someone that's in the highest office that's carry on the way he is. I mean, it's just
right.
It's just ludicrous, and it just gives everyone else who's that has that feeling the right to just move forward with their thoughts and their plans towards racism and things of that nature. But as Black folks, man, this is something that we always been going through, our ancestors and things of that nature. And then being a successful Black man, I mean, I always since day one been living in suburban areas, and
Okay.
some of your neighbors are nice and some of them are who they are, and you just deal with it accordingly, because at this point, it is what it is, as they say,
Let me ask you this: you being like a basketball player, do you feel like you get treated differently than like the average? Because we all from like the same club, and you from Paterson, I'm from New York, and my cousin played in NBA, Mike James. So
okay, yeah.
That's my cousin. Yeah. So I know I go places with him. We get treated like royalty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, it depends. It all depends. But when you're in your vehicle and you riding down the street, and at the end of the day you get pulled over. We all have that complexion of being Black. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, anything can happen. But you have your advantages. But again, I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't matter, who you are. You could get caught up in any kind of situation.
Facts. I'm gonna go into some basketball right now. You're from Paterson, New Jersey. Just tell the world how was it growing up out there. You being like mega superstar, probably from like the age of like 11.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough, man. I grew up in a crack era. My grammar school and my first home was right behind Eastside High School. So,
oh, word?
Yeah. So my brothers and sisters went there, and when crack hit, man, it was dangerous in the community. You had everyone, getting high off the drugs and things of that nature. So, it was difficult, but thank God for basketball, because again, like you just said, I was the best sixth grader in the country. So
it's a fact.
At that point, that was mainly my focus. Just focusing on the sport, and then throughout the community, all the OGs realized that I had potential, so they kind of stirred me in the right direction. When things was happening, even moving, all through the city. Like I lived damn near every part of the city. So in every area of the city, whether it was up the hill, down the hill, whatever. All the OGs just made sure that I was doing the right thing and kept me out of the loop.
Was who basically put the basketball in your hand growing up was it like the OGs, your cousin, your brother? Like,
nah, it was one of those things, like just in the neighborhood, as little kids, when you finally get that chance to get off the porch and go down the street and hang out with your homeboy. It was one of those things. You find the ball, you start dribbling and start playing, and then you go in the backyard with the crate, up against the wall, and then you use your bike tire rim, and then eventually you start getting older, you start getting to the parks, right? So that's how it was for me. I was the baby in the family, 5, and my brother was in the streets hustling and doing his thing or whatever. Okay. So, I had to find my niche, and sports was it for me.
Let me ask you this: you went to Paterson Catholic. I know what y'all won 2 state championships there.
Yeah, too. No,
Okay,
actually, my run, it was just one.
okay,
Yeah, it was just one. Yep.
okay. How was the experience there? We all know. Like, I'm from that era, and I remember you was the #1 player in the country that whole entire time. Probably like your whole 4 years, leading up into that. Like, how was it playing at Paterson Catholic and setting a legacy there, and just being like an icon throughout the Jersey, like actually in New Jersey, just period.
I mean, it was beautiful to go to a school where you can kind of, put your mark and your stamp on the school. The two schools in my neighborhood, Paterson East Side, and then JFK, they was already known for having, basketball players, baseball players, and also football players. So for me, my school, we was considered Punk City.
Oh,
They wouldn't
word?
even call us. Yeah, they wouldn't even call us Paterson Catholic. We was considered Punk City because it was a Catholic school. All the good-looking girls went there,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Facts,
and then
facts.
the guys that went there was sort of kind of nerdy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the
Wasn't the
smart
hood.
guys, the smart guys.
Right. So, my freshman year, it was a little bit of a. That's when we was kind of flipping the scale a little bit, trying to put our mark down. And then my freshman year, we also lost to Eastside High School. You know what I mean? So
Wow,
they pretty much still had the stamp. But after my freshman year, I kind of realized what I needed to do basketball wise. To further my career. So I got in the gym, but overall, man, just putting that stamp on the school, being successful and then giving back to the school. I kept the school open the last 12 years myself.
wow, wow.
And everyone that came behind me benefited because I either, paid their tuition, myself or, through the grants that I was
Yeah, I'm
giving
gonna
to the
get into
school.
that. Like, I know
Yeah,
you do a
yeah.
lot of stuff for the community. Like, I was reading that you do so much for the community. Is that something that just came natural for you, or you just always said, once I make this bag, I'm gonna just help give back to where I'm from?
Nah, I mean, it was more of a natural thing because again, we had guys that was, pros in basketball and football and stuff like that, and they didn't do as much. So the position that I was in, it was very, very beneficial because I had actually a shoe deal
Okay.
with Adidas, and then of course I had the bag. So I didn't know at that particular time that when you have a shoe deal, they give you merchandise throughout
Back.
the summer.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And my rookie year, I had $350,000 worth of merchandise just sitting.
yeah. Just
So they're
chilling.
like, Tim, you got to get rid of this stuff. So eventually, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dress up the entire school. So every sport my high school had, they wore Adidas. So and then I started the AAU program, which also wore Adidas. So it all worked out in the long run. But no, it was just something that I always thought like, you come from the hood and you see what's going on, and any opportunity you have to put a smile on somebody's face or help a program or a church or a high school, whatever the case may be, you've been blessed. So why not give back? So, in my community, man, I've touched everything. I mean, churches,
That's a fact.
nonprofits, high schools, that I didn't even attend, grammar schools, everything across the line.
But you know what's crazy though? Like athletes like yourself, y'all don't get the credit. Y'all don't get the credit for that. You know what I mean? And I'm
Right.
glad. I'm glad we got this platform to kind of put that out there and let the world know. Like, you do a lot for your community. I was looking and I was reading, and like I said, and like you said, you've done a lot for the churches, the schools, and it's like athletes don't get that recognition like they should for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because people always feel like you can save the neighborhood. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I made a nice lump sum of money, but still, like, what I made is not the city's budget. You know what I'm saying? So, people look at me like I've been the mayor for the last
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
20 years.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And I'm like, I can't save everyone, but again, like my thing is, I always look out for the youth. I'm a guy who dropped $1 million in one weekend for the youth.
But that's
You
That's
know what I
crazy,
mean?
man.
So
That's a blessing, though, man. That's
yeah,
something that should be talked about forever. Like word up, that should be talked about
right.
forever.
Yeah, but most inner cities, people always feel like you could do more, or if they don't have the information, they feel like you haven't done anything.
Facts.
And then when you tell them, what you've done, it's like then they sit
Whatever.
there, yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
egg on their face. You know what I mean? So, but for me, at the end of the day, I've always been quiet about the stuff that I do in my community, and I just like to get it done, sort of say, and not brag about it because there's really nothing to brag about. I'm really just trying to help, certain individuals get over the hump. And that's about it. That's all you can really do. Just try to put people in the right position, and hopefully it works out for them.
I was gonna touch on that later, but I'll stay right there because I know we got a couple minutes. But even making it to the NBA, and like I said, I'm kind of familiar with it because my cousin went to the NBA, so I was with him the whole entire time. Like, do you feel like? I mean, do you feel like it's your responsibility just to take your whole family with you? Because people don't. It's weird because when you go, it's like everybody goes with you in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't feel like that's the case. I mean, I feel like if you can do something for them to help them out or put them in a situation to get them going, then that's enough. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, what I did was I had a conversation with all my brothers and with my brother and my sisters,
Okay,
and I basically just asked them, what is it that you want to do? You know what I'm saying? So again, coming from the hood, none of them had education.
that's a fact.
See what I'm saying? So they was looking at me like, what do you mean? What do we want to do? We just want money.
Yeah,
Like,
but
give
you
us
want
money.
that bread? Just give us the bread. I
Right.
know. I'm the
So
same way. I was the same
right.
way.
So right. So they like, just give me the money. So, what eventually happened was I just said, you know what? Everyone's gonna live in one house. So
Okay.
I bought a big crib. I gave them a certain amount of money individually, and then they all lived, with my mom's in one place. So, that was kind of beneficial to things started, spinning out of control because, you know, every couple of years you get more checks, and then
Yeah.
at the end of the day they just start looking at you like you Wells Fargo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. They want that bag. They want that bag.
right. So I mean, and with having money, it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, in my situation, it ended up being a bad thing because I lost a sister to drugs. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I had a brother that was, strung out for years. He hustled and then he ended up using. So, and then, right now, relationships are not solid, within my household because of that. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And, me having a wife and kids right now, that my blessing is for them.
Facts.
So people don't understand that. And, at the end of the day, they just concerned about the bag. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. They can feel however they want to feel. But at the end of the day, I know what I've done for all of them. So at the end of the day, I sleep well, whether they hate me or love me. So, it's nothing that I can, control. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? But, some people do certain things for their family once they, get the bag, and some people don't. And I understand why, because a lot of people can't handle it when it's not their responsibility.
Yeah, it's a tough situation.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get into some basketball real fast. You went to Villanova. Was Villanova your first choice when you was being recruited? Because I remember you was probably part of like the best AAU team of all time. That AAU team you
Oh
had.
yeah, definitely.
That AAU
The
team is
best AAU
crazy,
team
man.
of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, like how was being part of that legendary team?
Well, those guys came and play with me.
I mean, I know that. I know what time it
Yeah,
is,
so
but
I
yeah,
was such a dog. I was such a dog. Those guys came to play with me. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
How
So
was that?
yeah, but God rest his soul. Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, Rip Hamilton, Kevin Freeman.
That's a
You
squad
know,
right there. Like,
yeah, Anthony Perry that went to St. Anthony's, Donald Hand that went to high school with me. But it was cool, man. I mean, we we was the first group of guys that was selling out college arenas during the summer. Beating people by 50, 60 points, and just having fun with the whole thing. And as far as recruitment, I was getting recruited, heavy in the 8th grade.
I remember.
So yeah.
Did you always
So
want to go to Villanova? Was Villanova always like your first choice, or was like you just want to stay
no,
in the
no, like
crib?
I really didn't have a clue where I wanted to go. I mean, initially, like going into my senior year, I was already considered a pro, so I had the NBA on the table. And then I had any college in the country, on the table. So what eventually ended up happening, going through the McDonald's All-American game and the Magic Round Ball game, Kobe and Jermaine and myself, we was all discussing if we're going to go pro or not. So the Magic Round Ball game, Kobe and Jermaine decided that they was going to go pro.
Okay.
And then I was the last one to kind of figure out, what was what and what I wanted to do. So I always said to myself, I always wanted to be top 10 in the draft.
Okay.
So that year, that 96 year, I don't know where Kobe landed, but I was supposed to be picked before either one of them.
Kobe was 13.
But still, what's that?
Kobe was like number 13, I think.
Right. I think Charlotte, it was Charlotte
Yeah.
that picked them up, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was supposed to be ahead of them, but it wasn't top 10.
Oh, word?
Yeah, it wasn't for me. I wanted to be top 10, right?
Okay.
So being 13, I felt like, nah, I'll go to college for a year, then I know I'll be top 10. You know what I mean? Showcase my skills, then I know I'll be top 10 in the draft. So once I decided that I wasn't going to go pro, it was just trying to figure out what's the niche, Do I want to go to school and play the 4 position, or do I want to go to school to play the 3? So do I want to go far away, you know what I mean? Or do I want to stay close? Or do I want to just, pick a school like Hawaii and go chill for 6 months and then go to the league? Like, it was all of those things. So, I looked into Rutgers. Me and Shy Holloway was going to try to go to Seton Hall together.
Wow.
But eventually what happened was, the reason why I picked Nova is because they had Alvin Williams and Jake Paulson, 2 guys that was considered to be pros. And then the biggest factor for me was Steve Lapis was going to let me play the 3.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go into the NBA as a 3, and then later on, as you get older, transform it into a 4 or 5. So that was major for me. So that's how I end up going to Nova.
That's interesting because I never, like I said, we never heard this story before, but I remember the 96 draft. That draft was crazy.
Yeah.
That draft was crazy.
Probably the best. Well, the guys say the best draft ever.
Yeah, definitely one of the best drafts of all time.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the best drafts of all time. Did you know when you guys were playing AAU and going into all that recruitment stuff? Did you know you guys would be like next level players like you guys was, like you, Kobe, Rip, Jermaine? Like, did you see it at that time?
No, we
we just chilling. Like, it is what it is.
No, we was just a bunch of young, hungry cats that was determined to make a name for ourselves.
Yeah.
At that time, the AAU scene was like the Wild Wild West. If you can get someone on your team, it didn't matter what state they was from, you had them on your team. So that's how, Kobe's from Pennsylvania. He comes, play with me. Vince Carter's from Florida. He plays with me. Kevin Freeman is from, the UMass area, Mass area. He comes, and play with me. So, I mean, we was just, out to, prove to everyone that we was some bad boys. And, it just worked out that we all ended up playing on the same team and was just destroying shit.
That's crazy. I mean, draft night came like in 1997. You got drafted by Philly. Was Philly the team you wanted to go to?
No, I actually got drafted by Jersey.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah. So sitting in the green room, man, like, after everybody, started getting picked, like I knew I wasn't going to Boston. Boston had the 3rd and the 6th pick because of, what I did to Rick Pitino. But just waiting to see, where I was going to end up. And then, with that 7th pick, Jersey had the 7th pick. And I knew I had worked out for him about 3-4 times. So I kind of figured, I said, well, I might go to the home team. Right. And then when they called my name, I was like, here it is, So I was super, super excited. The family was excited. And then 20 minutes later, they're like, yo, you got to switch hats. We keep it on. You're going to Philly. But for me, it was still cool because,
Still close.
I was still
Still
close.
East
Went to
Coast.
school. Yeah, I went to school, down in Philly. I had a great relationship with Derek Coleman as a youngster. And then I was super excited to be, running, with AI.
How was
So
that playing with AI?
it was cool. It was cool. I mean, I just wish politics wouldn't have gotten away because as I was coming out, I had 2 interviews with 2 agents. One was David Falk, which is Michael Jordan's agent, and he was Allen Iverson's agent, a few other guys. And then the other agent that I signed with was Arn Tellem. Arn
Okay.
Tellem was known as a baseball agent.
I remember.
When Sonny left Nike, he went to Adidas, and that was the guy he chose to work with. So, going into that situation, my guy didn't have any respect in the league at that particular moment, and David had all the respect because he had MJ, for so long. So the trade on draft day happened because of David Falk, because he had Keith Van Horn.
Wow.
And Keith Van Horn didn't want to go play with the brothers because he knew he couldn't run the floor and keep up with Allen Iverson.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how that happened. So my rookie year, I start off, fresh out the gate, and the entire league had the opportunity to see, what I brought to the table, and David Falk didn't like that. So my second year, they shipped me to Milwaukee, which was a great situation, but I was just behind, 3 other guys.
I was gonna ask you about that too. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I'm in my prime behind Big Dog, Ray Allen and Sam Cassell, as scorers, not just, guys that, they're in the league. Because at that time you had muscle guys and hustler guys and stuff like that. But as scorers, I was behind 3 guys. And I got traded for a guy who was not a scorer, at that time with Philly, so, it was difficult, but, again, I pressed my way through that. I was, runner up a couple of years for 6th man of the year. And then I got paid all-star money. So at the end of the day, I really can't complain about that.
But what's crazy? That Milwaukee team y'all had a squad though, man. Like,
Yeah.
I remember George Carl was the coach there. I never kind of like figured him out, but y'all had like a crazy like killer squad for real, like that Milwaukee team.
Yeah, that squad kind of flipped George style of coaching, because he was known as the defensive coach.
Yeah.
His days in Seattle, they was defensive. They'll get stops and run on fast breaks, and GP was throwing it up to Sean Kemp and stuff like that. So when we all got together in Milwaukee, you had 4 guys that can just score the ball, and we also had other guys that can score as well. But you have 4 guys that was natural given scorers, and George was like, "Look, man, we just gonna try to outscore everyone." and that kind of hurt us in 2001 when we played the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I remember that.
Yeah, because we had no one to slow down AI. Like, I was guarding AI at 6'10", 240, chasing him off the down screens, because none of our other guys was locked in on the defensive end. So it was all about scoring. So that's how they eventually end up, beating us with that squad that they had to go on play the Lakers in the finals that year.
I mean, you played for multiple teams. You've always been like highly respected by all the NBA players. Like, how does that feel, just to be respected by? I know playing in the NBA, you want to be respected by the players. How does that feel, just being respected by like the players like that?
That's all it's about. I mean, it's one big fraternity, and you want guys to understand that, I might not have been the first, second option in a lot of the situations that I was in, but you understood that I was a dog.
It's a fact.
And, that's all you can ask for. I mean, guys know that I was super talented and could do a little bit of everything on the court, but politics plays a huge part in every sport. You know what I mean? So, in football, you got to get the ball to get your numbers. And it's the same thing, with basketball. You got to be able to have that rock in your hand, at least get, 15 to 18 shot attempts, a game, just to get your numbers. But yeah, man, I mean, it's always good to, be respected by your peers, and some of the OGs, before you that you had game.
Do you feel like the game has changed because you're from like an era, like I said, like 96, 97, where the game was more physical. I don't want to. I be interviewing
Nah, it's
everybody.
changed, brother.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
You can watch it.
I don't want to say like you guys are more talented because the younger guys.
Well,
The younger guys watch the show, so I don't want to insult the younger guys. You know what I mean?
no, but
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they understand that and they respect that. You know what I'm saying? It's like every era is different, so that's why you can never say it's one GOAT because every era is different, right? So if we was to say who's the GOAT, everybody should say Bill Russell. I mean, the man has 11 rings, right?
Yeah.
But nobody mentions him, right? So I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, the game has definitely changed. I mean, we all see it. I mean, as fans and as former players, but it is what it is. I mean, it's better for the sport. There's more points. The guys get to play longer. You know what I mean? You have less injuries, things
Get
that
that
nature.
bag. Get that bag too. That bag is crazy now. The bag.
Yeah, the TV deals are going up. Like, just think about it. Like, I was fortunate enough to come in the era where Michael Jordan set it off for everyone, right?
Right.
So, with him gracing us with his greatness, the TV deals went up.
Facts. Yeah.
So Kevin Garnett was the first guy to capitalize off the TV deals, and then it's just a trickle-down effect. So now, I played with Del Curry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now his son benefits off it. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So, hopefully one day if my son decides he wants to, he's 2 now, but if he decides he wants to play ball, hopefully the bag is super big for him.
By the time he plays, the bag's gonna be retarded. The bag,
hopefully,
the bag is crazy right now,
to
man.
see it.
I got a couple more questions. I ain't gonna hold you long.
Yeah.
You gotta give me your top 5 players from New Jersey. Don't include yourself, because like we all know you New Jersey left. You got I have Randy Foy on the show, and I always fool with J.R. Smith. They from Jersey. Eric Williams from Jersey. There's a couple dudes from Jersey that could hoop. Give me your top 5. Give me your top 5 players from Jersey.
I would go. I'm gonna put Shaq in there first.
Ooh, I forgot Shaq was from Jersey. Ooh.
How the fuck you forget that?
Because I'm thinking because I know he went to high school in San Antonio. But he went to high school in San Antonio, so when I think about Jersey, I always forget about Shaq. I don't know why.
That man was born with Jersey water in his system.
That's crazy. I forgot. Shout out to Shaq. My bad, Shaq.
I'm gonna go Shaq. I gotta put Bobby Hurley in there somehow.
Legend, super legend.
You said not myself, right?
Nah, don't include yourself because we always throw you in there.
No, I'm gonna miss out on a few people. I'm just trying to think off the top of the head. I used to love Roger Rose game.
From Kentucky? That went to Kentucky?
Yeah, St. Anne's. Okay. You already mentioned E-Dub. There's so many. You got Eric. All the young. There's just so many. Terry DeHare. It's just so many guys.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's so many guys, man. Like we could sit here and debate that all day, man.
I had Randy Foy on the show. He said when I had Randy Foy on the show, he said there's a difference between playing public and private school basketball in Jersey, though.
Right, it is.
He's breaking it down for us. He's like, it's a big difference between playing public and private school basketball. He's like, so that kind of separates the best from the best. You know what I'm saying?
Well, not really. It is a difference as far as what they provide. Like when you think about St. Anthony's, St. Pat's, Roselle Catholic, a Paterson Catholic, that's different. All of those names is different. And then, with the public schools, it's an up and down situation. You know what I mean? Like you know, every year those Catholic schools is going to have something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's different in that aspect of it all. But you know, at the end of the day, if you got game, you got game, and you represent the state. It is what it is. And then, you know, like DeJuan Wagner is another
Oh
guy.
my God,
You know what I mean?
Camden.
So
He's from
it's like,
Camden. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so many guys, man, like that you can name. You know what I mean? So, but shout out to everybody. I know I'm missing some people. Shout out to everybody from Jersey who, you know, don't put it down.
Let me get your let me get your opinion on the NBA right now, the bubble league and LeBron, Giannis, just these new guys, and just give me like your top five guys right now in the league. Like I know you're still watching a little bit. I know
Right,
it's not
right.
the same, but just tell me what you think about the new guys in the league right now.
I love it, man, because they get to showcase their true talent. You know what I mean? Like guys are playing so many different positions now. Like I was fortunate enough to play 1 through 5 in Milwaukee,
You was ahead of your
and
time though. You was kind of like ahead of your
yeah, and I
time.
was
Not to cut you off, you
right,
was definitely ahead of your time.
right, and I was going to say that, like, you know, in this era, you know, this is really like my era. It should be
Fact,
my
fact.
era, you know. But I love that, you know, you get to see guys like Kevin Durant bringing the ball up, you know, starting the pick and roll instead of setting the pick, you know, things of that nature. A guy like LeBron, who's, you know, 6'8", 6'9", 250, playing all over the floor. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's great, man, to see what these guys are doing. The way Steph is shooting the ball, the way Dame is shooting the ball, the stuff that James Harden is doing. Westbrook is just, you know, an animal. I mean,
Retarded, but
it's
yeah,
amazing. Anthony Davis being, you know, another 7-footer like KD, handle it, shoot it. I mean, it's just amazing. The Joker, you know, being a big guy that, you know, could do so
yeah.
much. I mean, the game is just, you know, different, and it's all about skill set and development. You know, with these guys, and it's amazing to see, man. It's amazing to see. I mean, it's just evolving every year.
Let me ask you this: who would you consider the modern day Tim Thomas right now playing?
Oh, always love KD game. Always love
Yeah.
game. Um, he definitely reminds me of myself. You know, coming in, um, you know, being able to attack the basket, handle the ball, shoot the ball, you know, things of that nature. But you know, when you watch games now, man, I mean, everyone is doing that. You know what I mean? Everyone is doing that. So, you know, like you just said, I was ahead of my time, and you know, when I watch the games now, I'm like, you know, all of these guys remind me of myself. Carl Anthony Towns, handling the ball, shooting threes. So all of these guys, man, they definitely remind me of myself.
I mean, nowadays you always had a conversation about Kobe and LeBron and who's the greatest of all time. And I don't know how you view that. Who do you view as the greatest of all time? That's one question I have. But another question I have is what player you think could play in any era. You know how they say like this player is the best in his era, this player is the best in his era. What player you think could play in any era? Because some people don't think LeBron could play in the era that you played in. You
Well,
dig
he
what I
did
mean?
play in it.
I mean,
LeBron played.
I'm talking about, my bad. I'm talking about like in the middle '90s, like you came in '97. Some people don't think LeBron could have played in that era, like when AI just first came in and you came in.
I think guys like that could have played in, like LeBron could have played in that era because of his skill set, his mindset, you know, his body frame. You know, I don't think if he would have came in earlier,
Okay.
um, some of the early success that he had wouldn't have happened because you
Okay.
know, at that time it was still, you know, so many different teams that was good. You know what I mean? Like you didn't know exactly each year that, you know, one team was going to just flat out dominate outside of that Bulls run and that, you know, early 2000 Lakers run. But, you know, in those 90s, man, you had teams that was solid everywhere. You know,
I
you had
know.
Denver was solid, Seattle was solid,
Portland.
you know, all the teams were solid. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like, you know, just one team or one guy was just going to run the table and have the success like that. But what that man has, you know, been able to do in his career is amazing.
Yeah, he's a
It's
beast.
simply amazing, you know. So, but you know, for me, every era is different. And between those three, people talk about Jordan, LeBron, or Kobe. I mean, it's different eras, but again, man, you can't take anything away from the great one, MJ, because all of those guys are chasing something, within him. You know what I mean? So, he's the guy that those two are chasing. He's that ghost guy.
That's a fact, man. Listen, man, I appreciate you stopping by, man.
Yeah, anytime, brother.
Much love, man. Just tell everybody like what you're doing now with Paterson. I see everything you're doing stuff with the school and the youth and the AAU. Just give a brief
Right.
description of what you're doing and just the blessings.
Well, right now I have my own school, Pioneer Academy. This is
Okay.
in Wayne, New Jersey. This is the first year with me getting on board, doing the basketball program over there. So we're starting something new over there. It's college prep, blue ribbon school. So a lot of times, man, with schools, kids don't get exactly what they need out of the situation. So we want to prepare them on both sides, academically and with basketball. So when they do get to school, if they're having, thoughts of becoming a pro, at least they'll be ready when they get to school. Because a lot of times kids, they play AAU, they get their rank or whatever, and then they get to school, they're not ready.
Facts.
Because they're either playing for, an AAU team with a coach who never really played, can't really help them, you know what I mean? And then the same thing with a high school, in a high school situation, the coaches can't really help them. So when they get to college, it takes them 2 years to kind of figure things out. So we're just trying to prepare our kids the best way with that. I started the New Jersey Players in '97. So I just, got the trademark from that. The guy who was actually running it was, kind of fucking shit up there. So I had to take that over. And then I started a girls program, New Jersey Sparks.
Okay.
About 98, I think it was 98, 99. So, two successful, EYBL Nike programs there. And then I'm getting ready to start a basketball academy, which again, it's just basically skill set development, giving the kids what they need, on all levels, with the pro guys, the kids, all the way through. So, I mean, just doing my part, man. Just doing my part, making sure that, anyone that wants to get the basketball 101, from someone that's been through it all, can, reach out, rather than dealing with these copy and paste trainers that's, coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yo, man, I appreciate the love, man. Thanks for stopping by another episode of Say Word Podcast. Got Tim Thomas with me. My man,
Yes,
much
sir.
love. I'll see you another time, my man. Appreciate it.
Benjamin Franklin, my only friend. 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 Only friend. Only friend. Benjamin Franklin, my only friend. Only friend. Only friend.